Hello guys, me again Aswat, and this video finally I'm making a comparison between Android phone and iPhone in 2023. So as my previous video, I've informed you guys that the police took my phone last year, end of last year, so I had to get a cheaper phone to compensate my situation. I cannot buy an expensive phone, so I put my budget at 1,000 ringgit. So I started to use Android for the first time as full-time. My full-time phone was an Android. So that's it. The reason the police took it is just to investigate some postings that I did, whether I broke the law or anything. So anyway, the case is closed. So I got back my iPhone, and when I got back my iPhone, I'm torn between starting to use iPhone again or maintaining with my Android. So I'm gonna give the good things and the bad things about Android, and just to give some insight to people who wants to know about the differences, and in 2023. So the first Android that I got was a Redmi. It was a very cheap phone, Android phone, the Redmi. I can't remember the full name of it, but it was a Redmi below 500 ringgit. And this was immediately after the cop took my phone, and I don't have any spare phone. So I got the cheapest one to use, is the Redmi something. And then I found out quickly that I cannot use the phone at all because it was so slow, it was so sluggish, and so I had to return back to the vendor, to the seller. And then he taught me a lot, a very good guy, and he taught me a lot. He told me, yeah, because I asked for the cheapest phone, and he gave me the cheapest phone, the Redmi, but it wasn't usable at all. And he gave me the good reason why, and I share with you. He said, if you want to use, if you come from iPhone and you want to use Android that have the same capabilities as an iPhone, you get anything that have 5 gig of memory. So he took back the phone, and he gave me a Redmi, can't remember, Redmi Note 11, which was, so I have to top up from the 300 ringgit phone that I got. So I topped that up. It's still below 1,000, and that Redmi Note was fantastic, and I was surprised. It was such a cheap phone, but I can use it like I use an iPhone, meaning I can go through social media, I can go through web pages very fast, just like an iPhone. And I was surprised, this is my first time using the iPhone, using an Android full time, and I find myself loving the Android because it can use like iPhone. Okay, and then my next experience was the Realme 10, also below 1,000, and I was surprised because the experience is as good, it's better, because I think that one had 6 plus something gigabyte RAM, or 8, yeah, it has 8 gigabyte RAM, and it was smooth, it was fast. I can play games, I can use that phone for social media and what I needed. And yeah, and then I don't like the Realme system, because the UI wasn't good. There is no marketplace. Marketplace means you cannot buy wallpaper, you cannot get free wallpaper and whatnot. You are stuck with what they have, and that was a big bummer. You have the Android store, but internally for Realme, they did not have a good what do you call that? They don't have a good system within it. So I wasn't happy with that, but it was still usable until I think the best experience for anybody who wants to go into Android phone is to go for Samsung. Samsung phones are amazing. And I went from the Realme to Samsung A34, which is still below 1,000, but it is amazing. The UI, I think the UI is better than iPhone. The UI, the operating system, the user interface, that's why the UI, they gave us the Samsung One UI interface, which is the best interface I've ever seen on a phone. Better than Apple, better than iPhone, and better than Realme, and better than Redmi. So if I mental note to myself, to others, if you want to get a Samsung below 1,000, I think the whole operating system use One UI, and the Samsung is the best UI. So I was using it, like my full browser experience was great. My user interface with the system was fantastic, and mind you, it was below 1,000. So compared to the phone that the police took, my iPhone that the police took, it is 1/7 of that price. Can you imagine? It was 1/7 of the price, and it was still the best experience, better than the expensive iPhone. I was surprised that a cheap Samsung can have that kind of quality. So I was surprised, and I always keep telling people how great it was. The Samsung model, the Samsung A34, they have the good battery of 5,000 milliamps, they call it, which is like the biggest so far, I think 6,000 milliamp, but it has a 5,000 milliamp battery in a small body. It's a very thin and light body that I was surprised that, like I said, as I was using it, I had the best experience using an Android device, 1/7 of the price of the iPhone, but it still functions well. So finally, I got back my iPhone from the police. They closed my case and gave me back my phone, and I got into a dilemma. Should I use my iPhone fully back again, or should I downgrade and keep just using the Samsung? And that's when I said in my last video, I want to do a comparison video between the two. Like as I said, so now the smaller iPhone, the smaller phone Samsung, lighter means it's so light for a phone that has a 5,000 milliamp battery, and the UI is fantastic until today. So I was hesitant to go back to the iPhone. However, something weird when I made the first video comparison, somehow I have to admit, I go back to iPhone. And I'm gonna give you the reason why I finally decided I'm not throwing away the Samsung. I still use it as a backup phone for social media. So if I do something wrong with the social media, if the police need to take the phone, they can take the cheaper Samsung. So I'm gonna use it for social media. I will not use it as my main phone, and I will stick to iPhone. Okay, here's the reason, the cons why the iPhone is better than the Samsung, and it all go down to the simple matter of video and photo editing. The iPhone has the best video I've ever seen, better than, you know, if I buy a cheaper Sony, the cheap Sony, even that one, it costs 2,000. iPhone videos are better than Samsung, definitely better than Canon, because Canon can't even do face detection properly. So in terms of video editing and photo editing, the iPhone is superior. I don't know why. I don't know how much, because Apple never promote their iPhone in terms of how many gig their memory they have, or they don't mention it. Very rarely they mention it. But I discovered when I'm editing photos and videos on my Samsung A34, which is a below 1000 phone, it cannot match the output that Apple can do, that the iPhone can do. The iPhone can do better video editing, much better photo editing in terms of smoothness and fast. That is the big reason why. And somehow also emotionally, somehow I've got back with my iPhone, because this my iPhone, the iPhone I've been using since 2007, when my friend, a dear friend, gave me her first iPhone, first person with an iPhone that she gave me her iPhone for me to play with, and I fell in love with the iPhone. The first smartphone in the world was the iPhone, and I fell in love with it. Somehow I got back with my iPhone. So sorry Samsung. I wanted, actually, when I say I wanted to do the comparison video, I thought I wanted to make why I'm sticking with the Samsung. But immediately when I mentioned that in the video, my heart just go back to my iPhone, and because of the video thing. But even though I'm using the iPhone to shoot this video, I still say get the Samsung. For everybody else who doesn't have any emotional connection to the iPhone like I do, I would say go and use the Samsung. If you want to buy an Android, buy a Samsung. Even the cheapest one. The cheapest one you can get below 1000. The UI is still, now I'm using the iPhone, the UI of the Samsung is beautiful. The user interface of the Samsung is the best, is the most simple to use, is the most, ease of use that I've ever seen on a smartphone. So Samsung, congratulations, you win that way. You win also for the body. The body of the Samsung is light and easy to carry around. My A34, the Samsung A34, is made of plastic, but it doesn't matter. I just love holding it. It's so easy to carry everywhere I go, and I don't have to worry about losing it, because it's just a cheap phone. But I took care of it. But to the point that I never use a case with the Samsung. That's how I love using it. I'm confident of using it, because it's just a good phone. Unfortunately, the memory is not that good. Memory for editing video and photo, Samsung wins. Apple wins. Sorry, tersasul. Apple wins in that regard. Okay, what else? Okay, what else? The thing that Samsung beside the video and photo editing, why the Apple still wins at the end, is the security. The security in the iPhone is not perfect, but right now, the current state of the iPhone, to do banking or to do anything is safer on the iPhone, I believe. So if you're doing business, you are handling a lot of money in and out, the iPhone security is so much better. It's so much better, to the point that even if somebody stole your iPhone, they can trace it back. It's such a superior phone in terms of security. So that is my weird video. But not my weird, I didn't expect that I'm gonna stick with the iPhone. Actually, I thought that I'm gonna stay on with my Samsung. But after I got back my iPhone, and I made the statement in last video, like somehow after that, a few minutes after that, I fell back in love with my iPhone. I mean, that's a history that I have with my iPhone. I can say that I'm no longer obsessed with it. I'm I think the Samsung have superior UI, but in terms of security and in terms of video editing, you need to get the expensive phone. My Samsung was below 1,000, but it's better in certain areas, better than my iPhone, to the point of the price is 1/7 of the price, you know. So even if you are listening here, you don't have the phone, you just came out of college, I would suggest to get a Samsung phone, because the iPhone is so expensive. You need a lot of investment. Unless you have the money, you get the Samsung below 1,000. It's still a pleasurable phone. The word is, it's such a pleasure to use a simple, beautiful UI, which is easy, just so easy. Whereas the Apple is so restricted, so strict, you know. Even though all the good things I say, yeah, but if you don't do videos, you don't do photos so much, then you can just stick with your Samsung. I mean, for the young kids out there, it's the best. I think below 1,000, you still can get a good quality phone with that Samsung model. So that's it. My short video comparison between the iPhone and the Android, and my own experience of using the Android for a few months, more than 3 months, almost close to 6 months of using Android full time, especially the Samsung, my lovely Samsung A34. I will never forget your jasa, your help during my time without the iPhone. Anyway, that's it. That's my review for both of the phones, for both of the phone categories. And like I said, the clear winner is in terms of both phones are good, but if you are living on a budget, go for the Samsung. You know, that's it. Thank you so much. Peace.